This morning, the world received some really significant news. Pope Francis has passed away. He was 88.
Yes, a major moment. And it really sets in motion this whole series of fascinating traditions within the Catholic Church. Very historical.
Absolutely. We've got a detailed news report here outlining the immediate facts. And for this deep dive, we want to, go beyond just the headlines.
Right. Understand what actually happened, the details surrounding his passing, and crucially, what happens next.
Yeah, because while the news itself is clear, what follows is governed by centuries of protocol, isn't it?
It really is. It's this complex mix of spiritual stuff, administration, history. It's quite unique.
Understanding it gives you a real insight into the church itself, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's enduring nature.
Okay, so the report we have says the Vatican announced his death this Monday morning. He just appeared on Easter Sunday, which makes it feel quite sudden for many, perhaps.
Well, yes and no. Let's look at the immediate circumstances first. What did the Vatican actually say?
They reported the cause, right? The top doctor mentioned it.
Yes, the official cause was stated as a cerebral stroke. This apparently led to irreversible heart failure and then what they called cardiocirculatory collapse.
So basically, his heart and circulation just stopped functioning effectively.
Exactly. The time of death was very specific, 7:45 a.m. at Casa Santa Marta, his residence inside the Vatican.
And that Easter appearance, while maybe hopeful, it sounds like he was dealing with quite a bit, health-wise.
Oh, absolutely. The report mentions a history of respiratory problems. He'd had bilateral pneumonia before.
Right, and other conditions too?
Yes, type 2 diabetes, hypertension.
Yeah.
And importantly, he was just recently hospitalized for double pneumonia.
Okay, so his presence at Easter, while significant, clearly followed a period of real frailty.
It seems so, yes. A testament to his will, perhaps, but the underlying conditions were serious.
The report also mentions something quite personal, his spiritual testament, dated June 2022.
Yes, and it contains some very specific wishes, particularly about his burial.
Where did he want to be buried?
He explicitly requested burial in the Papal Basilica of St. Mary Major.
Why there?
Well, it connects directly to his lifelong, deep devotion to the Virgin Mary. That basilica is hugely significant for Marian devotion.
And the specific spot?
It was very precise. An in-ground, simple tomb, not elaborate. In the side aisle, between the Pauline Chapel, that's where the Salus Populi Romani icon is, a very important image of Mary and the Sforza Chapel. It really highlights that Marian piety.
And simple, you say?
Very. Just the inscription, Franciscus, nothing more. It fits with the whole tone of his papacy, that focus on simplicity.
It seems the financial side was taken care of, too.
Yes, the report notes a benefactor provided funds and instructions were given to Cardinal Rolandus Mecricus.
It's also quite moving, isn't it, that he offered his own suffering for world peace and fraternity.
It really is. It kind of encapsulates so many of the themes he pushed during his time as Pope.
Okay, so looking ahead now, the immediate aftermath. The report uses the term papal interregnum. What does that mean, practically?
So the interregnum is just the period starting now, with the Pope's death, and it lasts until a new Pope is elected.
The seat is vacant, period, essentially.
Exactly. And during this time, the Church's governance shifts. A key figure emerges, the Camerlengo, or Chamberlain.
And who is that currently?
Right now, it's Cardinal Kevin Farrell from the United States. He effectively becomes the acting head of the Vatican.
Acting head. So he runs things day to day.
Pretty much. He oversees the administrative side during the vacancy. Historically, the Camerlengo holds significant power in managing the Holy See's temporal affairs during this transition.
So Cardinal Farrell certifies the death, makes arrangements, that sort of thing.
Yes, those are among his specific duties. It's a crucial role in ensuring continuity and managing the process.
Okay, so the interregnum begins. What are the very next steps we expect to see? The report mentions mourning.
Yes. First comes a 9-day period of official mourning called the Novendiales. It's a time for prayer across the church.
And the funeral happens within this period?
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
Usually between the 4th and 6th day after the death.
And we'll likely see Pope Francis lying in state.
That's the expectation. Probably in St. Peter's Basilica, maybe starting as soon as Wednesday. It allows the public, the faithful, to pay their respects.
I imagine the crowds could be huge, thinking back to John Paul II.
Absolutely. That's a strong possibility. And, given his roots, the report mentions possible unofficial events in Buenos Aires, too.
Makes sense. And the funeral mass itself, that's always a major world event.
Oh, definitely. You see heads of state, religious leaders from all over the globe attending. It really underscores the Pope's global role.
Like when former U.S. presidents went to John Paul II's funeral.
Exactly. And of course, any specific wishes Pope Francis had in his will about the funeral itself would be taken very seriously.
Right. So after the mourning, after the funeral, all attention turns to electing the next pope, the conclave.
The conclave, yes. The process formally starts when the Dean of the College of Cardinals convenes all the eligible cardinals.
Eligible meaning under 80.
Correct. Under 80 years old at the time of the Pope's death. The report says there are currently 136 cardinals who fit that bill.
Which is more than the number John Paul II set, right?
It is. He'd set a maximum of 120 voting cardinals, but, well, numbers had grown. These 136 are summoned to the Vatican.
And there's a specific time frame for the conclave to actually begin.
Yes, there are rules. It can't start earlier than 15 days after the death,
Okay.
and no later than 20 days. Though the report notes, if all the electors get to Rome quickly, it could potentially start a bit sooner within that window.
Got it. So the cardinals gather in Rome, then comes the conclave itself, inside the Sistine Chapel. Iconic setting.
Absolutely iconic. It's been the spot for papal elections for centuries. Inside, the voting is very structured.
How does it work? Ballots.
Yes, paper ballots. Each cardinal gets one and writes their chosen name under the Latin words, Eligo in summum pontificem.
Which means?
I elect a supreme pontiff.
Now, the report mentions something interesting technically. Any baptized Catholic male could be elected.
Technically, yes, that's true according to canon law. But
it doesn't really happen.
not for a very, very long time. The last non-cardinal elected was way back in 1379. For over 600 years, the Pope has always come from within the College of Cardinals.
So practically speaking, they're choosing from among themselves.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
And the voting itself has a ritual feel.
It really does. Each cardinal, in order of seniority, walks up to the altar, holds their folded ballot high, and places it in a chalice.
Then the counting.
The counting, yes.
Yes.
And to be elected Pope, a candidate needs a 2/3 majority of the votes cast.
2/3. And it might take multiple rounds of voting. The report mentioned a schedule.
Oh, yes. It's not usually a one-shot deal. On the second, third, and fourth days, they can hold up to 4 votes a day, 2 morning, 2 afternoon.
That sounds intense.
It is. Then on the 5th day, there's a break, a pause for prayer, reflection, maybe some discussion among the cardinals.
A reset, maybe?
Perhaps. After that pause, voting can resume, with up to 7 more rounds possible before another potential break. It continues in phases like that.
Until they reach that 2/3 majority. And the whole world finds out via smoke signals.
The famous smoke signals. It's the classic image, isn't it, from the chimney on the Vatican roof.
So how does that work?
After each voting session, they burn the ballots in a stove connected to that chimney. If no one got the 2/3 majority.
Black smoke.
Black smoke, exactly. They add a chemical to make sure it's clearly black. It means no pope elected yet.
But then?
But when white smoke appears, that's the signal everyone's waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
It means a new pontiff has been chosen.
And the vacancy, the sede vacante, is over.
Precisely. The report suggests this whole conclave process, culminating in white smoke, could potentially happen within about 13 days of it starting.
Wow. So just to kind of recap everything we've walked through, we have the immediate news of Pope Francis's passing, then this period of mourning, the novendials, the funeral.
The lying in state.
Right. And then this incredibly detailed historical process, the conclave, to choose his successor.
It really is quite something, a blend of ancient tradition playing out on the modern world stage.
It's a testament, isn't it, to the structures and practices of an institution that's been around for millennia.
Absolutely. The world watches this process, which shows its continued relevance, its influence, you know?
Yeah. And seeing this whole sequence, so rooted in history, unfold today, it does make you think. Considering how detailed, well, sometimes lengthy this process is, what does it really tell us about the Catholic Church's nature today? Its endurance, its global footprint.
That's a big question.
And thinking about the next leader, whoever emerges from that white smoke, what unique challenges, maybe opportunities too, do you think they'll face in today's world? Definitely gives you something to ponder.